Here, well done. Thanks for being with us. Lovely having your company. See you next time on The Chase Australia.
We start with breaking news tonight. Some quite incredible scenes in the heart of the city. Police lined up in big numbers trying to stop a protest which was ruled unlawful and a public health risk. And it looks like the demonstrators have stayed away. Football crowds coming back and restrictions lifted on domestic travel. A car crashes through the front of a shop at Punch Bowl. We're live at the scene. Prison guards seriously hurt trying to save inmates from a fire lit inside a women's jail. Human bones found on a Central Coast beach, a major forensic operation. New research on the best time of the day to exercise, morning, lunch or night. And die-hard Eels fans given the VIP treatment at the Battle of the West.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Michael Usher.
Good evening. As we go to air, police have moved into the city preparing to shut down an illegal protest that's due to begin soon. Let's go live to Chris Reason. Chris, good evening to you. Half an hour from the start. What's the scene there?
Yeah, good evening to you, Michael. Well, it has been a long time since I've seen scenes like this in the centre of Sydney. These police numbers are in the hundreds, and not just here in front of Town Hall. As you can see, that line extending down behind me there all the way to Park Street, but all the way around the streets surrounding as well. Kent, Bathurst, George and surrounding streets. Hundreds and hundreds of police officers, all of them, most of them uniformed, all of them masked and waiting for whatever happens tonight. As you say, it starts in about a half an hour's time. On top of the police presence, Michael, if we walk down this way, down Bathurst Street, we've got dozens and dozens of police vans, paddy wagons and also the police custody bus, as well as dozens and dozens of paramedics as well. Now, as for protesters, we can count them on one hand at this stage. No one has turned up. It's still half an hour to go, but we're waiting to see what happens there. More police on the other side of the light rail line there as well. Michael, I haven't seen scenes like this since the APEC meeting 2007 when US President George W. Bush visited this place. We called it a ring of steel then. We're seeing similar scenes here tonight. Most of those protesters, though, we're expecting deterred possibly by the weather. It has been raining most of the day, obviously, but also by those warnings from police of serious consequences for anyone that did come down. Signs of trouble. Refugee activists this afternoon making placards and printing leaflets, preparing to protest despite the COVID threat.
We think the risk is very low and we're going to do everything we can to minimise that.
Police were preparing too in massive numbers for both protests tonight on Black Lives Matter and tomorrow's on refugee rights. Both have been condemned.
This is not about the issue that people are raising. This is about people's health and welfare.
Federal and state leaders lining up to issue warnings.
Don't be stupid. Don't put the lives of others at risk.
Please think of other people. There are other ways in which you can protest.
Last night, police sought and won a Supreme Court injunction to block tomorrow's rally, but activists say they'll ignore the ruling.
We absolutely are urging people to continue to come to the protest.
Insisting they'll wear masks and social distance, but from the Chief Health Officer,
you cannot make them safe.
Also overnight, the AFL relaunched the season with a Black Lives tribute.
So they're going to stand in solidarity with their Indigenous brothers and sisters.
And on a day the Prime Minister was pushing for footy crowds of 10,000, protesters were asking why their gatherings were declared illegal.
These sort of events really are dangerous.
And as for a push from government MPs to punish protesters by stripping JobKeeper allowances,
we won't be doing that.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
More breaking news now, and a car has lost control, smashing into the front of a shop at Punch Bowl, narrowly missing people. Laura Banks is at the scene. Laura, good evening. What happened?
Good evening, Michael. Well, this all unfolded just before 5. And the Toyota Camry behind me crashed into a DVD and video store here on the boulevard in Punch Bowl, narrowly missing the shop's owner. And miraculously, 3 children and their father had just exited the store. Now, I spoke to the driver a short time ago. There is a roundabout at this intersection and it is very wet from the rain, but he had little explanation as to what caused this accident. What happened?
Just leave him alone.
Are you okay, sir?
Madam?
I'm lucky. Well, I was have customer couple of minutes ago with 3 kids. He just left and I go inside and that's what's happened.
Now, firefighters are working to secure the area so the car can be extracted. Police have only just arrived on scene, but the driver will need to be tested for drug and alcohol to rule those out as causes. But thankfully, tonight, Michael, everybody goes home safe.
All right, Laura Banks in Punchbowl there, thank you. The Prime Minister's announced major changes to the last stage of plans to ease COVID restrictions. As of next month, there'll be no limit on people gathering indoors as long as the 4 square metre rule is applied. Thousands will be able to attend footy matches and state borders will reopen.
Canning the canned crowd noises to put the real roar back into live footy.
People will be able to watch the games not as cardboard cutouts, but in person.
From next month, stadiums with capacities below 40,000 can have up to 10,000 people seated for sport and other live events, leaving the individual states to decide the limits for bigger stadiums like the SCG and Optus and Suncorp stadiums.
I'm sure that will be very welcome.
As for weddings, funerals and other indoor events, from next month allowed 1 person for every 4 square metres, around 200 people for an average venue or church.
We'll stimulate our workforce. We'll stimulate our suppliers, so it's good news.
National Cabinet will next look into limits for smaller bars and cafes, but nightclubs will remain closed as Scott Morrison declares victory in the state border wars, allowing a return to domestic travel and holidays within weeks.
I welcome the opening of the borders next month.
Queensland and South Australia planning to do that, but not WA, insisting its hard border will remain until community transmissions in eastern states end. And Scott Morrison's apologised for comments yesterday suggesting Australia has no history of slavery. Today, acknowledging that Indigenous peoples have been subjected to what he called hideous practices.
My comments were not intended to give offence, and if they did, I deeply regret that and apologise for that.
But on movies and series being pulled for racial offence...
Honestly, people, let's focus on what's really happening.
Like an extra 800,000 people unemployed.
You want to know where my focus is? On them.
Censoring Gone with the Wind? Frankly, he doesn't give a damn. Mark Riley, 7 News.
New South Wales' stellar 2-week run of no local COVID infections is under a cloud tonight after a baffling case at a Rose Bay school. The campus was closed today after an after-school carer tested positive, but authorities are conducting further tests to determine if the infection is old.
Students locked out with cleaners sent in. Rose Bay Public School shut down after a staff member tested positive to COVID-19. Health authorities are tonight working to determine if the case is still active or an old infection. It's the 3rd virus scare at an eastern suburb school in as many weeks. But of 4 students across 4 campuses since schools went back, there have been no secondary infections. No one else fell ill.
Indicating it is safe for children to go back to school and teachers to be at school, just as long as they're ensuring that they don't attend if unwell.
It comes as New South Wales sets a record, more than 15,000 tested in a single day.
Me personally would like to thank those with symptoms for coming forward.
And with team sports to resume on July 1, the state government today offered grants of up to $1,000 to reboot money-starved clubs.
That's your little athletics, that's your local football team, your local tennis team.
Gyms can reopen from midnight. Also announced today, 20 people instead of 10 can join a fitness class, even yoga and dance, as long as distancing rules allow.
It's going to look slightly different, but we're going to have a bit of fun with it as well.
You'll also be allowed to welcome up to 20 people into your home or gather outside.
With food court seating also back tomorrow, this centre in Rhodes has clearly marked the tables you can sit at. There will even be a security guard to make sure people are social distancing.
We'll have 1 entry and 1 exit so we can control the numbers.
Miley Hogan, 7 News.
9 guards and 3 inmates have been taken to hospital after a fire was started by prisoners in a jail housing women. It's claimed the quick actions of officers saved 1 inmate's life who needed to be revived. Follows a major show of force by guards at Long Bay Jail earlier this week as unrest in our prisons escalates.
For the second time in 4 days, another jail emergency. An open area of Mary Wade Correctional Centre in Lidcombe becomes a makeshift hospital ward. Ambulance officers treating multiple patients injured after a fire started in a shower block, the smoke then spreading to 2 other wings.
Westmead have set up a major incident for this. If appropriate, they are able to go to Westmead if you need them to.
21 patients were assessed for smoke inhalation. 2 officers taken to hospital for treatment, 7 others as a precaution. 3 inmates also went to hospital, 2 suffering burns. Most patients went to Westmead Hospital, the remainder to Auburn.
If not for the quick actions of those officers, you'd have a dead inmate. My understanding is one of the inmates had to be revived at the scene.
Given the complexities of the total number of patients and the location in a prison, it deemed a significant response.
On Monday, the grounds of Long Bay Jail turned into a free-for-all, a show of strength from guards cracking down on inmates after several turned on each other. The tipping point, drugs, with supply into jails at a standstill because visitors haven't been allowed in. Just why the fire at Lidcombe was started remains unknown. Tonight, detectives, along with fire investigators and forensic officers, remain at the scene. Peter Fegan, 7 News.
The local share market took a hammering today following a big fall on Wall Street. It was all triggered by fears of a second wave of coronavirus. Despite Australia's COVID containment, some American states are still suffering major outbreaks.
Just when they thought it was safe to get back in the ring, Australian investors are on the ropes.
We've seen a very sharp turnaround in sentiment and real pressure selling across the board. Every sector's in the red.
Today, falling by as much as 3.5% from the opening before clawing back some ground, down 1.9 at the close.
The market had run very, very hard. It was due a bit of a pullback or a correction.
Spooked by sliding US markets, falling nearly 7% overnight, with American fears of a new COVID wave and the US Federal Reserve dashing hopes its economy would snap back.
But the Americans had rebounded far too high, and that's why they really were riding for a fall.
Raising fears it could drive our market back to its March lows.
That would mean from here a very substantial fall, a fall of 30 or 35% for Australian shares.
I don't think so, but I am no medical expert. Second wave infections will be the determinant.
As COVID restrictions ease. Of course, confidence is key, and the best sign of confidence is spending, making September a month to watch when that stimulus money in the economy is due to wind up. JobKeeper and rental assistance.
Once those safety nets are withdrawn from the economy, there are concerns that we could see some sectors of it collapsing.
Keeping investors awake at night. Chris Marr, 7 News.
Police hope DNA tests and dental records will identify a mystery jawbone found on a popular Central Coast beach. The troubling discovery was made by a mother and daughter, prompting a major search.
On a small stretch of Yamina Beach, police picked through every centimetre of sand after a grim discovery.
I leant over to see what was protruding from the sand, and it happened to be a human jawbone.
Toya Evans was walking her dogs yesterday when she tripped over the remains, picking them up and immediately calling police.
We placed it in a doggy bag just so to make it secure and safe.
The investigation will hinge on the forensic analysis that will be undertaken today to determine where the jawbone has come from.
They belonged to a man aged in his 20s who died less than 10 years ago. They'd been buried but somehow moved. Teeth and dental fillings, now clues for pathologists.
Could have washed in from the ocean, it could have been unearthed, it could have been moved by a dog.
Police bringing in their own dog to search for any possible burial site. Big swells recently have carved away sand. Detectives are now going through unsolved crimes and missing persons cases. The challenge for police now isn't just figuring out who these remains belong to, but also if there are any more out here. They're asking for anyone who might have made similar discoveries along Central Coast beaches to come forward to help solve the mystery and to give a family somewhere answers. Andrew Denny, 7 News.
West Tiger star Josh Reynolds has been cleared of drug driving. With a tweet, Reynolds said, "What a surprise," and he was never concerned after his third test returned a negative result. He's free to make his NRL return against Canberra tomorrow night.
He's been through some challenging times and he's been very positive and very professional about how he's gone about things.
The Tigers chose Reynolds to replace Benji Marshall before the third test result. As America grapples with coronavirus and a race divide, President Trump is heading back on the campaign trail. 5 months out from Election Day, he's hit the road, but with a catch. Anyone attending his rallies must promise they won't sue if they catch COVID.
Donald Trump back on the road and in front of a crowd in Texas, talking race, reform and getting tough.
I said, we have to dominate the streets. You can't let that happen, what happened in New York City, the damage they've done. You have to dominate the streets. And we're dominating the street with compassion because we're saving lives.
Backing police, calling for better standards and more funding.
They're protecting us, and if they're allowed to do their job, they'll do a great job, and you always have a bad apple no matter where you go. You have bad apples.
Next week will be his first campaign rally since the coronavirus lockdowns. With cases spiking in 20 states, a disclaimer, people going can't sue if they catch COVID-19. But there's a backlash over the date and place. June 19th, known as Juneteenth, commemorates the end of slavery. And Tulsa, Oklahoma, scene of a racist massacre 99 years ago. A white mob killing hundreds of African Americans.
It's a meaningful day to him, and it's a day where he wants to share some of the progress that's been made.
But some black leaders in Congress called it a slap in the face, as the nation's top military leader apologised for appearing with Donald Trump at that church photo op after tear gas and rubber bullets were used to force protesters and the media out of the way.
I should not have been there. My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics.
Reportedly so upset he considered resigning, the latest sign of unease between the Commander-in-Chief and his military. In the United States, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
The terrorist who supplied the gun that killed police employee Curtis Cheng has failed in a bid to appeal his 44-year jail sentence. Rabana Liu gave the revolver to a teenager who shot Mr Cheng at Parramatta in 2015. Liu sought leave to appeal to the High Court, his lawyer arguing he had been young and naive, but the application was dismissed. Liu will remain behind bars until at least 2048. Thredbo has apologised for a website bungle that plagued the launch of its upcoming ski season. The site crashed as 30,000 scrambled for limited lift tickets, including frustrated holidaymakers who'd already booked accommodation.
The phone lines running hot at ski tour operator Oz Snow.
Yeah, there's still hearings available.
Just one of the businesses caught out by Thredbo's booking bungle.
Probably the best word to use for the pre-booked customers is panic. These guys are booked and paid in full, and all of a sudden they're 30,000 at the back of the queue.
Customers like Jess Samuel, who had accommodation booked, only to be told lift passes at $159 a day were in short supply and could now only be purchased on Thredbo's new booking system.
So I got on at 11:30, so my number was actually 9,588 in queue.
Within minutes, it crashed.
It was just unable to cope with that volume of people, which was about 3 times what we'd anticipated.
Season passes no longer available and will be refunded. Many in the industry worried that while demand and bookings is strong right now, in a few weeks the borders with New Zealand are expected to open up and customers wanting a ski holiday will have the option of spending their money elsewhere.
But there's a lot of bad taste in people's mouths.
Seeing that it's starting to open up New Zealand, that's definitely what we're planning to do if we don't get access to the ski fields here.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
Sally Bowery joins us now. Sal, good evening. What can we expect with the weather this weekend?
Well, Michael, we've got a strong cold front heading towards us right now. The system will sweep across the border, hitting western New South Wales late Saturday, with areas from Wagga Wagga to Dubbo right across through to Bathurst seeing the first rain. Up to 15 millimetres is forecast under the cloud band for those parts. Even heavier falls around Glen Innes and into Byron into the weekend. Now, the front will continue to sweep through Sydney. That'll be late into Saturday night. We're expecting some thundery rain. That'll approach Sydney into Sunday morning. Currently, we have some showers falling across parts of Sydney. Heaviest falls so far been around Terry Hills and Canterbury, around 5 millimetres in the gauges there, around 2 millimetres in the airport. I tell you what, it'll stay cold and wet tonight. There are those showers at the moment, and it is currently 15 degrees in the city. The good news is we will see some sunshine before the next bout of rain. I'll have the full forecast a little later, Michael.
All right, Sally, thank you. An RFS volunteer meant to protect people. Instead, he put them in danger. Next, the firebug facing a lengthy stint behind bars. Help from above. Incredible pictures as a worker is trapped on the roof of a burning building. Buy from the bush, the online campaign saving small businesses. Later, switching off allergies, the trial set to be a life changer for Aussie kids. And soon in sport, we're live to Parramatta for the top of the table clash in the NRL.
7 News, brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
Hold on tight. Big Brother's big week of big twists is just getting started.
Big Brother is playing dirty.
The eviction that'll cause a revolution.
The king and queen are going to be dethroned.
You wanted a show, you've got one.
He's playing the game well and he's the threat.
It can blow up. Bigger than Hiroshima.
Big Brother's big week starts Sunday at 7 on 7.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance is on now. Save on quality furniture for your entire home. Limited stock, limited time. Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance. Hurry.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, oh, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can make a family, bake a family, escape your family, protect your family, destroy your family, entertain your family? Oof, maybe not. Get it quick smart at Kogan.com.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. I guess you say what can make me feel this way.
The first ever GLB, room for 7, and much more.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this NRL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at the half and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
Customers in New South Wales told us that they saved on average $209 when they switched their comprehensive car insurance online to Budget Direct. So why not get a Budget Direct quote today?
For a limited time, switch to Energy Australia and get a $50 electricity credit and a $50 gas credit. Plus, with Total Plan, get a total energy bill discount guaranteed. Join Energy Australia today.
A former RFS volunteer has been convicted of deliberately lighting fires in Sydney's southwest. Daniel Crawford claimed he was in the area by accident, but a judge today slammed that claim, saying it was no coincidence.
If Daniel James Crawford was looking for solace, he would not find it on the street or from the courtroom, which had decided his fate.
Mr Crawford, are you worried about today's judgment?
Undoubtedly nervous and crushed upon hearing these words from the judge. It cannot be a coincidence. There is just no rational hypothesis. He is the person responsible for lighting these fires. 7 of them in total around the Macarthur region. It was during the peak fire season in the summer of 2017-18. Crawford reported the fires using a fake name, but police installed a tracking device on his car.
Look, I know it doesn't look good for me. I'm sorry if whatever did or may look coincidental or something. I know what it looks like.
Crawford claimed to have been near the fires by coincidence, blaming some on discarded cigarettes.
So this is your opportunity, if you want to tell us any more?
No, that's...
Something off your chest?
No, that's...
It's simply not possible that he so just happened to be in these places at the same time.
Have you embarrassed the RFS? Daniel James Crawford is facing a maximum 14 years behind bars, but his sentencing was put off until August 21 so he can be by his wife's side when she gives birth next month.
It is unlikely he will be there for his child's first few years. Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
Workers made an incredible escape from a burning building in Kazakhstan. Trapped on the roof with the smoke closing in, you can see him get to the edge and grab onto the rope of a crane. He manages to hold on as the crane operator then lowers him down from the flaming construction site completely unharmed. Trump once proclaimed they'd fallen in love, but 2 years after their first summit, North Korea says it sees little use in a personal relationship between the US president and Kim Jong-un. State media reports American policies remain a long-term threat, and its foreign minister says it will never again gift Trump with high-profile meetings so that he can boast their achievements without getting something substantial in return. Bush businesses doing it tough during the depths of the drought have used social media to showcase their wares and earn millions of dollars. The Instagram page has helped build connections between the city and country and create jobs.
Amid the dust and desperation of the ongoing drought, last October Grace Brennan sat at her kitchen table northwest of Dubbo, dreaming up ways to help her family and regional communities.
You see images of dying sheep and dry dirt, but not necessarily the impact it's having on small business.
Grace's idea to highlight rural talent and retailers via a Buy from the Bush Instagram page was an instant hit. Within a month, it had 100,000 fans. Today, more than double that. It's helped Bush businesses, selling anything from homewares to clothing to fresh produce, to reach new customers around Australia and the world.
It gave us an opportunity for our followers and our customers to really engage in our life here on the land.
97% of the business owners are women.
I was able to contribute to our household income more so than I had been previously.
And money earned is money spent.
More dollars going into the community, some tourism uplift.
The program has helped generate an extra $5 million in sales as businesses benefited from an average 315% jump in website visits. And that's meant jobs. 1 in 5 businesses employing new workers.
I had this instinct that people in the city really did care about the bush and cared about the drought. They just needed a way to help.
Gemma Acton, 7 News.
Good news at last for Australia's jobless. Still to come, workers in demand. The industry's offering new opportunities. Get your skates on. A Sydney icon reopens. Now the push for heritage listing. After fleecing $500,000 from her employer, this office manager learns her fate. And sign of the times, a video call with the Queen as Her Majesty jumps online. That's next.
At the heart of it all, it's a great story. A story of girl meets boy.
I don't have a story, I'm just a girl in a bar.
Of good.
We can save them both.
Versus bad. FBI! Drama.
I don't know what to do.
After drama.
I don't want to lose you, Joey.
I need help in here! That come alive right here.
I'm right here. I'm okay.
Because this is the home of drama. All streaming for free on 7+.
Right now, businesses are facing their toughest challenges. Get advice and inspiration from other local businesses on cash flow, marketing and managing staff. Get the support you need at businessaustralia.com.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance on now.
Here's something to catch up on. Sportsbet's NRL Same Game Multi. Combine your favourite markets, like Souths to win, into both Latrell and Tedesco to score, and you'll get bigger odds. Same Game Multi from Sportsbet.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can order pizza, cook pizza, wear pizza, hug pizza, swim with pizza, sleep with pizza. Okay, too much pizza. Get it quick smart at Kogan.com.
As a Lucra Super member, you get a hands-on approach to your superannuation. Lucra Super is your industry super fund. Together, we are working for a better future.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance on now.
It's time to come into the cold with Kathmandu down jackets. Now available at up to 50% off in our winter sale. Embrace the great outdoors we've all been missing. Explore great deals on down jackets at Kathmandu.
It's laundry season at Harvey Norman. Wash smarter with the latest technology from all the leading brands. Save up to $700 on selected Miele laundry packages or up to $1,200 on selected AEG packages. We have dryers in stock from $349. Front-load washers with steam to sanitize and care for your delicate items from $698. King-size washers to save you time from $899. Plus 60 months interest-free is available. Limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
We are regional Australia.
We are winemakers.
We are coffee roasters.
Fashion designers.
Potters. Bakers.
Shopkeepers.
We're asking for your support because the wine is pouring.
The kiln is firing. And we're open for business.
Because where you shop matters.
Discover how Visa's network connects regional businesses to customers across Australia and the world.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance on now.
A Sydney office manager who ripped off her employer has been jailed for up to 18 months for fraud, but Sue Ma lodged an immediate appeal, walking free this afternoon despite siphoning almost $500,000.
The convicted fraudster spent barely an hour in custody this afternoon when Sue Ma was granted bail ahead of her appeal.
You worried that you might end up doing more jail time when you appeal?
A minimum 9 months jail for the once trusted office manager who fleeced more than $400,000 from her boss, plus the bankrupt has been ordered to repay $100,000.
We'd like our money back, and I probably won't see any of it, but it's a pretty reasonable and just result.
Within weeks of starting her job at the city engineering firm in 2017, the now 49-year-old started redirecting cash from creditors into her own account. Ma covered her tracks by paying suppliers back in instalments, but the rest she gambled away on the pokies. When the alarm was raised last year, Ma was sacked and police called. She pleaded guilty to the fraud.
The whole process has been very complex. She could have helped us when we originally discovered it and saved us a lot of money and heartache.
Ma's lawyer told the court this all began as a short-term fix for her perceived need to gamble. The magistrate, though, said she wasn't entirely convinced that it was just the risk-taking and greed that drove this.
Ma's appeal against the severity of the sentence will be heard next month. If it's upheld, she'll be released from custody just a week before her 50th birthday. Evan Batten, 7 News.
The easing of pandemic restrictions across Australia comes with further good news on the jobs front, with more positions being advertised. As expected, medical and construction workers remain in high demand, but now hospitality and retail jobs are making a comeback too.
Despite an unemployment rate of over 6%, if you work in healthcare or a trade, you're probably not out of a job. Latest figures from job agency Seek show those categories are in high demand. For the first 2 weeks to June 7, new job ads were up 60.6%. And the biggest numbers were for trades, healthcare, hospitality, manufacturing, transport and education.
It's pretty good news, but we've got to remember we're coming off a very low base of jobs when jobs really did drop off a cliff back in March.
All states showed a rise, the biggest in Queensland and Tasmania. The hospitality sector, hard hit by coronavirus closures, now storming back.
I think we're going to employ a couple more staff if everything stays how it is.
And more good news from the National Skills Commission, which found almost 19% of employers are actively recruiting. They want truck drivers, childcare workers, mechanics, shop assistants and receptionists.
So people are a lot more positive about the future. We're seeing that in our surveys.
But it is too soon to celebrate. New job figures are out next week and it's tipped they could show an unemployment rate as high as 8%. Certainly there are no calls yet to suspend or end the JobKeeper payments. What can keep that rate in check is further easing of lockdown restrictions, revitalising the economy. Brian Seymour, 7 News.
More now on tonight's protests in the city, and our reporter Miley Hogan is in Hyde Park where a large group is gathering. Hello Miley, what's happening?
Hello there, Michael. Well, this is not where the group or the protest was supposed to gather. They were supposed to gather outside down near Town Hall, where there is that heavy police presence. But up here, there is a lot less police and a lot more protesters. At the moment, they are just walking along the outside of Hyde Park. There's no real direction as to where they are heading. It looks like they are walking away from Town Hall, though, and away from that police presence. They are here for the Black Lives Matter movement to highlight Indigenous deaths in custody. Just moving around this. But at the moment, they seem to be very peaceful, to be chanting their message. We have not seen any aggression down here at the moment, but there certainly hasn't been any social distancing. People are wearing masks, but despite the police and politicians urging protesters not to turn out tonight, they have come to Hyde Park to protest.
Okay, Marty Hogan following the rallies in the city, thank you. A Sydney favourite is ready to reopen tomorrow, emerging from shutdown while still fighting for its survival. The Macquarie Ice Rink, nestled uniquely inside a shopping centre, will welcome back skaters as owners await a heritage decision on its future.
Frozen in time, ice untouched for nearly 3 months. But not for much longer. Eager skaters will be welcomed back tomorrow.
We were the first rink in New South Wales to get our opening date out, and the response has been awesome.
The Macquarie Ice Rink has stood for nearly 40 years, a chilly playground and a training ground for champions.
Bradbury is going to come through and win gold!
There's been a 2-year battle to save the facility, and now Ryde Council is playing a waiting game after lodging a planning proposal to give the rink local heritage status.
This is why I'm calling on the state government to speed up its assessment of our heritage proposal. We all need certainty.
It's something that's unique for the shopping centre. It gives it a bit of personality, so I think it should stay around.
How long is it going to take to build, and what happens in the meantime?
If this rink were to be demolished, Council says developers would need to meet certain criteria to rebuild, including keeping an Olympic size, a tiered stadium and a location within the shopping centre. From AMP Capital, a commitment. A rink will be included in future plans.
I've seen some drawings, and from what I've seen, it is amazing. Like, we will transform Macquarie Ice Rink to the best ice rink in the country.
For the skating community,
and he scores!
The ice awaits. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
A driver has made himself an instant hero, coming to the rescue of a school bus stuck in the mud near Newcastle. Witnesses say the bus had veered off the road before getting bogged. The passerby delighted onlookers, armed only with a rope and a whole lot of perseverance. Good job. The bus back on its way with no injuries to report. At 94 years of age, the Queen has tried something new, dialling in to her first official video call. The monarch followed the lead of her tech-savvy family to carry out her duties remotely.
Adapting to the times just like the rest of us.
I'm very glad to have been able to join you today.
Alongside daughter Princess Anne for a video call honouring Carers Week in the UK. During lockdown, the entire royal family has ventured online. The Cambridges are the king and queen of Zoom.
So the first number is 5 and 8.
But the real queen wasn't going to be outdone, logging in from Windsor with the help of her private secretary.
Interesting listening to all your tales and stories, and I'm very impressed by what you have achieved already.
Throughout her 68-year reign, the Queen has been an early adopter of advances in communication. In 1957, live television.
I very much hope that this new medium will make my Christmas message more personal and direct.
The next year, making the UK's first long-distance call. In 76, she became the first monarch to email and 6 years ago, tested out Twitter. Due to coronavirus risks and her age, there are fears the Queen may never return to regular frontline duties. Her last public engagement was the Commonwealth Day service here at Westminster Abbey in March. Some believe the pandemic could end her reign, but others are confident this modern monarch will find a way forward. In London, Sarah Greenhalgh, 7 News.
Kids could soon be able to switch off life-threatening allergies after the break. The Australian trial hailed as a life-changer. Increased flights, added safety measures, Qantas and Jetstar getting ready for a comeback. Better exercise, why the time of the day is key to weight loss.
And Charles tonight, I'll tell you what's ahead this weekend soon.
So who is he?
The accountant.
Like a CPA accountant?
Not quite.
The Accountant. Tonight, 8:30 on 7.
It's laundry season at Harvey Norman. Wash smarter with the latest technology from all the leading brands. Save up to $700 on selected Miele laundry packages or up to $1,200 on selected AEG packages. We have dryers in stock from $349. Front-load washers with steam to sanitize and care for your delicate items from $698. King-size washers to save you time from $899. Plus 60 months interest-free is available. Limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
Can't wait to get back to the footy. Oh, so good. Oh, there's been a spill. He picks up the crumbs, goes left, goes right. He's done it back in the bathroom.
Hot food, just $3 at 7-Eleven.
Needs a friend. For the sake of those around you, eat a bit more Aussie fruit, veg and nuts. It's the good mood food.
Customers in New South Wales told us that they saved on average $301 when they switched their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So why not get a Budget Direct quote today?
The Amazon mid-year sale is live now. Time to get great deals on electronics, fashion, homewares and more. Plus, you'll get free delivery on eligible orders over $39. Shop amazon.com.au. Easy as.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance is on now. Save on quality furniture for your entire home. Limited stock, limited time. Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance. Hurry.
When we look back on these days, let's remember what we found. Because when all we have is time, what we find is each other. We're here to support you. And we can. Together.
What's got this dog digging and digging and digging? Dr. Harry's here to find out. New, better homes. Next on 7.
As we reported earlier, the market clawed back from a 3.5% crash soon after opening. Investors spooked after the US market tanked on fears of a second COVID wave. A sea of red on the board, banks suffered a week of big losses. The Aussie dollar, there it is, fell back to just over 68 US cents. Petrol prices, let's look at those, continue rising, now over $1.27 a litre on average. We've spotted it for less than $1.06 in Clovelly, around $1.03 in Bass Hill. With interstate border restrictions set to ease next month, Qantas and Jetstar have started increasing flights with added safety measures. Passengers are being offered contactless check-in, as well as face masks, sanitising wipes on board as well. The Qantas boss, Alan Joyce, on hand to demonstrate today how things will look the next time you get up in the sky.
It has changed how you do it, but we believe that there's a lot of people out there that are very excited about the ability to visit family and friends, about doing business trips again.
The airline maintains flying is one of the most hygienic forms of transport. There's hope for thousands of children who suffer from a potentially deadly allergy through a promising trial from Australian researchers. The program began late last year but was put on hold because of the pandemic. Now there are early signs it's working.
Jamie Stevenson has spent most of his life avoiding eggs after learning he suffered from a potentially deadly allergy.
I just feel like really jealous and like I really want to eat that.
Soon he could be able to, as part of a trial run by the Murdoch Children's Research Institute.
Essentially switching off of the allergy at the end of an 18-month course of treatment.
Eggs are one of our most common allergies, affecting around 9% of Australian babies. This immunotherapy treatment works by exposing children to the food with increasing doses gradually.
So I have to have egg, like the protein egg, in ice cream every night.
Researchers ran a similar trial for peanut allergies in 2015. For Jamie's sister Sarah, it worked.
I wasn't that much of a fan of it, but since I'm used to it now, like, I'm okay with it.
It worked very well. 4 out of 5 children achieved what we call remission.
It's one step, small step at a time. It's been a long process.
If this trial is also a success, researchers hope to expand the program and apply the same immunotherapy treatment to other common allergies, including almonds and milk.
It'll be a game changer for us, just to have that freedom.
Applications are open for more children to join the trial. Christy Mayer, 7 News.
When it comes to losing weight, it turns out timing is everything. The new research revealing the best time of day to hit your exercise goals. Secrets unlocked soon here on 7 News. Now, though, I want to take you to a live shot, if you don't mind, of that continuing rally in the city. We just crossed to our reporter, Marnie Hogan, a minute ago, who told us that about 500 or so of those protesters had gone from Hyde Park, moving along Elizabeth Street, away from Town Hall, where all of the police were. We'll go back to that shot in a minute and give you an update. Now, though, Olympic swimming champion Kyle Chalmers has gone to extraordinary lengths to continue training during the global health crisis. Today, there it is, a giant shipping container was craned into his backyard in Adelaide. Chalmers is turning that container into a makeshift training pool. Jets are going to be installed in the pool that Chalmers will power into during his training sessions. He's dedicated. All right, Jim's here now with sport. Jim, good evening to you.
G'day, Michael.
Some lucky Eels fans back inside Bankwest Stadium tonight.
Para Power, and they are very excited, Michael. Good evening to you, evening everyone. Coming up, we're live to Parramatta ahead of the Battle of the West, and we've got breaking news at the Bulldogs. Also ahead, Benji's back at training after his lapse with COVID protocols, while Manly pay a heavy price. And back in the swingers, golf returns to the fairways, and it didn't take long for a spectacular ace. That's next.
Whether you're trying to keep your business going or make it stronger for the future, Business Australia can help you improve your cash flow, find alternative revenue or build your business online. Get the support you need at businessaustralia.com.
Plush Sofa's end of financial year sale is now on. Shop in showroom or online with up to 50% off everything and 48 months interest free.
Beacon's Mega Stocktake sale is now on. Enjoy reduced prices on all our stock at all Beacon lighting stores across Australia or online. That's mega savings on all our stock during our Mega Stocktake sale.
While we're all having nights in, make yours a big night in. Because this year you could win up to $8,000 worth of prizes from a huge range. Woolworths Big Night In. There's a new winner every day.
Customers in New South Wales told us on average they saved $209 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $301 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Kill bacteria that can cause sore throats fast with Betadine Sore Throat Gargle. Or treat and relieve with new Betadine Gargle and Lozenges Kit.
The Snooze end of financial year sale is now on. Support your local business and save up to 50% off Australian-made mattresses. Plus, enjoy great savings on customisable Australian-made bedroom furniture. Hurry, sale on now.
What a little snooze can do.
For over 30 years, Rest has been looking after hardworking Australians and their super. We're committed to helping protect your money, in good times and in bad. And we make sure our profits go straight back to you and not to shareholders. The world we live in is always changing, but our commitment to you never will.
Will the curse return at the Cattery? Geelong versus Hawthorn. A blockbuster Friday night footy on 7 Mate.
This sport report brought to you by TAB. Long may we play.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Battle of the West and 1 versus 3 when Parramatta hosts the Panthers at Bankwest Stadium. Let's go live to Chief League reporter Michelle Bishop. Good evening, Michelle. It's not only corporate guests tonight who'll be inside the stadium.
Good evening, Jim. Around 600 people will be allowed in the catering and function areas here tonight at Bankwest Stadium. Now, in addition to those corporates and sponsors, a very special gesture from the Eels. They've invited long-serving members, and I'm talking 40 years plus, and they are here tonight riding high at the top of the table with the Eels. I caught up with some of those diehards a little time ago. Have a listen.
Yeah, go Para! All the way! Let's do it tonight, huh?
We just can't wait to get back in Bankwest, you know, and see Parramatta.
Very exciting. We're very privileged to be going to the game tonight.
Oh, mate, you got no idea how excited I am of getting in tonight. It's a huge honour to get this opportunity to go.
They are keen. It'll be a baptism of fire for Nathan Cleary's return for the Panthers. Some see this as an early Origin audition to see who will wear the Blues jumper in November when Cleary locks horns with the informed playmaker of the Eels, Mitchell Moses. Now, in breaking news, the Bulldogs have confirmed star English prop Luke Thompson has been given an immediate release from St Helens. He'll head straight to Sydney and spend 14 days in quarantine. And what a boost he'll be for that forward pack for the Bulldogs, Jim.
Yeah, he's a great get for the Bulldogs at Belmore. Thanks very much to Michelle Bishop live there at Bankwest Stadium. And how good are the Para fans? They're up and running there in full voice. Fantastic. The Warriors are hosting the Cowboys in Gosford, where Jason Tamalolo returned. And teen sensation Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow made his debut. But Valentine Holmes twisted an ankle and the rookie flyer was caught out.
Patrick Herbert, half volley, brilliant!
But this is why everyone's buzzing about the 18-year-old dubbed the Cheetah. Have a look at Hamiso's work, everyone, to put Holmes over. They've traded tries. It's 16-12 to the Warriors near half-time, but this is very big news. Holmes is off with that ankle problem. Coach Michael Maguire says every West Tigers player is equal, with no special treatment for dumped co-captain Benji Marshall. Now, Benji received an official NRL warning today for his biosecurity breach and blunt truths about his playing future.
Under the eagle eye of the Tigers' COVID cop, Benji Marshall returned to training this morning, but he's not playing against Canberra tomorrow night.
As I said, we've made some changes and we're looking forward to the game.
Coach Michael Maguire wouldn't even say Benji's name, unconcerned that axing a 35-year-old club legend will cause trouble.
No, not at all. I've come to the club to make sure that we build change.
He's fed up with inconsistency that's plagued the Tigers for 21 years.
Between the players and myself, we've spoken about our expectations and what we're building here at the club. Play for 80 minutes, play the best they can.
James Roberts was named but won't return for South's clash with the Titans tomorrow.
James won't be playing, actually. He'll be... just weren't happy enough with his fitness at the moment.
Zoom calls have become Wayne's world. Today, links to the Dragons came up again.
You guys, I don't know, you go to bed and dream about things, obviously, and then you start writing about them. It's just a part of Wayne Bennett's life. Every time there's a problem at a club, I seem to be going to it.
Luck has turned for Manly. Down 18-0, they came back to beat the Broncos with a contentious late penalty. Marty Tapau could play next week, despite going to the hearse of pain and dislocating a thumb. But Moses Sully needs 1 to 3 weeks off after minor surgery on a finger fracture. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Channel 7 has extended its deal to broadcast the AFL for another 2 years through to the end of 2024. Now, the Giants resume against North Melbourne on Sunday, live on 7 Mate. They had to drag 21-year-old Harry Perryman back from the family farm outside Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to come back, actually, especially because we didn't really know when we were playing or anything.
With 4 goals in round 1, Perryman's right at home amongst the Giants' superstars.
They're all good fellas too, so yeah, it makes it easier for you to get a kick as well if you're good mates with them.
Last night, footy returned with Collingwood and Richmond's 36-all draw at the MCG. After 90 long days, the PGA Tour swung back into action in Fort Worth, Texas this morning. Colonial member Ryan Palmer did the honours, and under the Black Lives Matter spotlight, 2016 Australian PGA champion Harold Varner III shares the lead at the Charles Schwab Challenge at 7 under par.
We're in a tough spot, and we'll handle it whenever I get done work. And I just want to play well.
Matt Jones is the best of 6 Aussies at 4 under. Now, Korean Sung Kang had a hole-in-one without anyone there to give it the cheer he deserved. You know what? No galleries because of obviously COVID restrictions, but great to see golf back. And fantastic news today about the AFL. Another 2 years on 7, and Very exciting.
That is good news. The best part of that sport break, though, the fans are back. How good were they?
Mate, Para Power. They're full of voice at the moment. I love the passion and it's terrific. Big game that tonight, and we'll have all the highlights on Weekend Sunrise tomorrow and on the news tomorrow night with you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
See you then.
Now, if you're preparing to line up for those gyms and fitness classes which reopen tomorrow, here's a tip. Go in the morning. Research shows those who exercise in the first half of the day are more likely to make it a habit and yield better long-term results.
When it comes to losing weight, motivation is our biggest obstacle.
Depends how I feel, my mood. So I try and do something in the morning and in the evening.
But now there may be a way around it. A US study which tracked almost 400 mostly overweight people concluded timing is everything.
Once you've exercised in the morning, it makes you feel better for the rest of the day.
The study found those who exercised at the same time each day were more likely to exercise more often and lose more weight, 19 kilos compared to 14 kilos.
Which reinforce and highlights the importance of habit formation when it comes to exercise.
The key, researchers believe, is exercising at the same time, in the same place, to make it more of a habit than a chore.
Well, if we can bypass motivation by automating our physical activity, our exercise behavior, we have scored a major goal.
The group that benefited the most exercised first thing in the morning.
It could be that consistent exercisers choose to do it first thing in the morning because they get that little nice buzz.
While the study supports the case for consistency, it's easier said than done, particularly for those with busy schedules. The study suggests there is nothing harmful in exercising at different times as long as it gets done. Tom Saker, 7 News.
Sally's back now. And Sal, the big question, will the wet weather continue across the weekend?
Michael, we're in for a wet night, but the start of the weekend should be fine. The full forecast is next.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this NRL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at the half and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
To do, you know, all this here's got to be painted again.
Gee.
I lowered all my door frames by 2 feet, just as an epic reminder that Aldi are having their special buys.
You can't miss that.
Hey, precisely.
Turn your doorway into an epic reminder for this Saturday and get a clothes dryer for $249, a stainless steel dishwasher for $299 and a bar fridge for $99.99. Only at Aldi. Good. Different.
Thanks for calling ING. This is Adam speaking. How can I help you? No, I'm currently working from home.
Oh, you can call anytime, so...
Sorry. And she's currently nibbling at my toe right now.
Yeah, working from home was a bit tricky at first, but...
There's definitely been some stray farts, hasn't there, mate?
And now your loan's on a fixed rate. Can I help you with anything else?
No, you made my day.
Well, whatever 2020 throws at you, we're here for a chat anytime.
Too easy.
It's tax time madness at JB Hi-Fi with the latest 5G Oppo Find X2 Pro phone, $15.99. Vivo X50 Lite, perfect for night shots, under $500. And stay connected with Nokia 5.3 only $349. Buy in store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Customers in New South Wales told us on average they saved $209 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $301 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
At Priceline Pharmacy, we know everyone's different. That's why we're here with advice on everything you need to protect your family's immunity, treat symptoms head-on and recover to full health. Shop in-store or online and live winter well with Priceline Pharmacy.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale is now on. Support your local business and save up to 50% off Australian-made mattresses. Plus, enjoy great savings on customisable Australian-made bedroom furniture. Hurry, sail on now.
What a little snooze can do.
With 100% of your daily vitamin C, go for gold with a zest-free Sun Gold kiwi fruit. Make your healthy irresistible.
Zest-free.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this NRL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at the half and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
3 drops of this changed her life.
Pain-free, not one headache.
The Australian-grown treatment helping so many. 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Back now to that illegal protest in the city where police are out in force. Let's go to Miley Hogan again with a large group of protesters near Hyde Park. Miley, what's the latest there?
Yeah, Michael, well, the crowd is starting to thin out. People are starting to head home. The group never gathered in one spot. They continuously walked around Hyde Park. We heard some of the protesters saying that that was a strategy or a tactic to try and confuse police. And then some of the protesters with megaphones moved into the crowd and started telling other protesters that they were finished, that it was time to go home, that they didn't want to get arrested. And then the police stepped in and started telling protesters that it was time to go home and gave them a final warning.
My name is Superintendent Wood from the Sydney City Police Area Command. You need to move on now or you will be arrested. You understand? I'm giving you a formal warning. Move now, disperse or you will be arrested.
Police are now giving one of those warnings again, telling protesters that it is time to go home. They are saying this is a formal warning. Some protesters are still gathering here on the edge of the park, so it'll be interesting to see if any of them are fined for breaching public health orders. Michael?
Thanks, Miley. Let's bring in our chief reporter, Chris Reason, now, who's just a bit down the road from there. Chris, a heavy police presence where we were just an hour ago. Did it have the desired impact?
Certainly seems to, Michael. Good evening to you again. Well, we're on the corner of Elizabeth and Park right now, and that message that you just replayed from the police through those loudspeakers does seem to have had the effect that they wanted. The protesters have been streaming across the road from Hyde Park down here back towards Down Hall, where they'll see a lot more of those police. The police we brought you pictures of earlier, but they're basically heading not to protest, but to head back into the public transport system, they tell me, to head home. Their point has been made. They've demonstrated, they've protested, they've kept moving, as Miley said, to avoid being arrested and breaking those public health protocols and rules. That seems to have been effective. We've had no arrests as far as we've been told at this stage. As Miley says, the interesting thing now will be to see of the remnants, what happens to them and whether or not the police move in and show more force to try and break them up and indeed issue fines or arrests this evening. But then we look forward to tomorrow's protest, same place, 3 o'clock. This time not Black Lives Matter, but a refugee support group protest. They're expecting not as many as tonight. I think we saw about 1,500 tonight in total. Probably tomorrow they're talking just in hundreds, but the same heavy-handed police warnings will apply to them as well. Whether we see the same numbers, we'll find out tomorrow. Michael.
All right, Chris Reason, thank you for that. Let's go back to Sally now. Sal, as we saw behind Chris and Miley, a cold and wet night out there.
It certainly is, Michael. We've got some showers lingering along the coast this evening. Things should improve tomorrow ahead of some more rain. Today we reached a top of 16.3 degrees. That was just around midday after a low this morning of 12 just before 6 a.m. We saw those bands of showers just soak the suburbs this afternoon. The city and Terry Hills, they picked up around 5 millimetres, around 2 millimetres at the airport. Temperature-wise, most suburbs hovered around 16 to 17 degrees. Terry Hills, a little bit cooler though, 15 degrees there thanks to those showers. Now, the main feature at the moment are the onshore winds and showers just along parts of the coast. That's triggered by a trough. That will change as we hit the weekend. We've got a strong front arriving from the west. That'll arrive into late Saturday night with widespread rain from Wagga to Dubbo and as far north as Inverell as well. Around the capital cities for tomorrow, we can expect a few showers for the east coast. Cool and cloudy will be the story for Adelaide, mostly fine in Perth. Bit of a trouble with my graphics, so I'll continue on. Closer look at New South Wales into tomorrow. Wagga Wagga could see around 10 millimetres across the weekend. Around 40 millimetres expected in the gauges at Glen Innes, and that'll continue up into Byron as well by Sunday. Across Sydney's suburbs for the start of the weekend, morning fog is expected at Liverpool and Richmond, followed by a fine day. Tops of 20 degrees at Parramatta and tops of 22 degrees expected at Penrith. On the water tomorrow, norwesterly winds with swell just sitting around that 1 metre mark. Now, tonight we will drop down to 11 degrees with a few showers expected at times. Should be mostly sunny tomorrow, 20 degrees expected in the city. Looking ahead, rain and even the possibility of a coastal storm on Sunday morning. It should be mostly fine though by Sunday afternoon. Then it looks like sunshine returns across Monday and Tuesday. We've got the slight chance of a shower starting up from Wednesday, but it looks like all in all it should be a mostly fine and dry weekend ahead, Michael.
That is good. All right, Sally, thank you for that. And that is 7 News for this Friday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Michael Usher from all the team here. Thank you so much for your company. Have a great Friday night. Bye.